me, Geordie Pete Redding. Welcome to Hollywood Ball's Soccer Saturday, presented by Manscaped. Today's episode is sponsored by Football Town, the global fashion football heritage brand of which we are sporting today. It is Saturday, it is Soccer Saturday, and it's Yes, my favourite day of the week again. And before we meet today's special guest, let's just have a quick look at what's coming up on today's show. Okay, our big game previews are Leicester against Arsenal in the early game. Spurs, Man United. We'll definitely focus on George for that one. We focus on a rising star, Crystal Palace. There's a basement battle between Norwich and Leeds. We're going to be looking at what's going on at Villa, a preview of the Women's FA Cup semi-final, and of course, our very own baller of the week and the DK Hot Sauce Premier League Challenge. Wow, lot to get through. Before we start, we sent our Kev out last week on location to visit friend and guest of Hollywood Balls, Dub Pistols, Barry Ashworth. Kev, how was it? What's the report?
It was absolutely excellent. Barry and the Dub Pistols, Shawnee T, all the boys were fantastic, and they looked after me, Pete. I've got to say that. I've got to give them some credit.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, we've got a couple of videos which we'll try and fit in along the way because Kev was on location for Hollywood Balls. Okay, my next guest is a certified gold machine. 779 appearances, bagged an incredible 236 goals. No doubt he'll be on target today, making his Hollywood Balls debut. Please give a warm welcome to Robert Earnshaw. How are you, Rob?
I am excellent. Thank you very much. What a pleasure. And, thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Thanks for being on. Listen, we've got to get straight into it. We've got a massive African audience that join us from TFA, so welcome to everyone. But I guess you got your footballing genes from your mum, right? Because she starred for Zambia.
Yeah. So, I mean, in my family, we do it the opposite. We do it differently, always. Yeah, so I mean, my dad. So for those who don't know, I was born in Zambia, in Africa, and moved to the UK when I was 9. But in between, I lived in Malawi. But when I was in Zambia, my mum used to play football. So when from a little baby, all I knew was my mum was playing football, and she was really good. She was excellent, and I guess subconsciously that's where I get it from. So it's years later I become a footballer in the UK, but it's probably down to those influences. So yeah, that's where I got it from, and I've had a great time since, so it's brilliant.
What a journey, by the way, as well. I mean, you grew up in Wales playing football, but also, I mean, you had a love of gymnastics and you loved watching the basketball as well. But was football your first love?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say so because, I think so when I was I watched it a little bit and, played a little bit in Zambia and Malawi and things. So really when I got to the UK and I watched it on TV, because also at the same time, we didn't always watch TV when I was a kid because we didn't have it. We watched videos. Yeah, this is what I remember. We had TV. We watched videos because there was actually no TV channels in, especially what I remember in early in Zambia. And then when I got to the UK, I'm 9 years old, 10 years old, and I'm watching, and it comes on TV, and there's big hype, crowds, excitement, and I was like,
amazing.
Wow. Yeah. So after a little while, I was like, as soon as I saw it on TV, I was like, okay, that's what I want to do. Didn't know the journey, didn't know how it would be. It was just a kid. I'm just a kid watching on TV, but I just loved it. I loved the energy, and I just started pursuing it, and that's how it started.
That's where it went. I mean, George, we say it. You and I, as fans, we leave the professional business to our two guests today, but literally, that is for you and I living the dream, isn't it?
Oh, it's absolute dream. And listen, Rob, people need to understand Rob's record. It's like 1 goal every 3 games almost, and he didn't play 2 or 3 games. He played 700 and how many, Rob? 770, 800 games. We have a legend with us. Rob, it's a pleasure.
Hey, George, and that's why he's on the throne. If you look at the chair, it's like a throne. I'm telling you, he's that good. He's that good.
Where's the crown? Where's the crown? You put it on. You left it on the desk. That's what you got.
Take cape off, put it to the side.
Nice one. Put it to the side.
But listen, but you have to say though, back in the day. Look, the women's game now is the rage, and everybody's going crazy about it, me included. But back in the day, Rob's mum, I mean, she's a trailblazer, you could say, right, Rob? The normal story is, my dad used to play, and I learned from my dad, and he was the inspiration. Now, Rob, I know you're not 21 anymore, but that's back in the day, and it was his mum. So that's a beautiful story. Inspirational, frankly.
Definitely.
It is actually because, that's the interesting thing, because when I'm back in Zambia and she tells the stories, there's no women's team, no women. I mean, you will have maybe a handful that were interested, because in Africa, football is everything. It's deep, but at the same time, nobody's playing football, no women playing football. So she actually joined in with the men. So she used to join in with the men's team, and that's how she got to play on the team. So. Also at the same time, you had to be good and obviously compete. These are the challenges, but of course, a trailblazer, and I mean that's all I know of her is in everything that she does.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game.
Absolutely brilliant. Kev, going to come up to you. Whisper it quietly, but Arsenal are on a bit of a run. Many. I know. It's in the script.
Don't do that to us, Pete, because I know what you're like.
Something that I want to get your take on, because I've read a lot about it. I was reading about it this morning as well. It's 6 games, by the way, putting a nice little run together. But many are saying that they need a statement result, and that Leicester provide the opportunity. I think every result is a statement result, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But I think it's, when a team is progressing, Arsenal, listen, the start of the season, when you look at how the team started to how they are now, they're on a bit of a run, and there's been indifferent performances, Pete. Let's not shy away from that, especially the Brighton and the Crystal Palace game, especially. But I think as you go along, there are hurdles and there's certain obstacles you have to get over. And where you want to be, when you look at it, really, Leicester is that team. Leicester's always been up and around that top 4. Yeah. So this is a massive game for Arsenal. You get a good result, get a win here, and then all of a sudden, some of those doubters, because there's still doubters on Mikel Arteta, the fan base would start to maybe follow him.
It's a game I'm looking forward to, George. As a fan, 2 sides that are they're going to play great football. So a good way to kick off the weekend.
Yeah, it's a very intriguing game. I think there's some level of momentum building at Arsenal. I particularly like the blend of some of the youngsters that Arteta's playing. They're playing really well. But I will tell you, I think perhaps there is no more of a key player at Arsenal than Gabriel at the back. Yeah. Ever since he came back, there's more aggression in defence, and that spreads throughout the whole team. I think he's been a key player for them. And like I said at the beginning of the season, Gabriel was out injured, as was Thomas Partey, blah, blah, blah. And everybody was going at the deep end, going off at the deep end. It's a great game. Leicester are beautiful. They play great football, very difficult team to play against. It's a fascinating game. It's a tough one to call. But to Kev's point, if Arsenal win today, confidence just blossoms and the momentum gets to the next level, and it gets really interesting for Arsenal. I mean, I would say in some regards this is a cup final for Arsenal, because if they win today, boy, they could do really well, I think.
Good stuff, Rob. As I was saying, it's a great game to kick the weekend off, isn't it? And I'm expecting goals.
It's huge. It's huge. It's one of those games. I look at Arsenal in their season. If you're going to be Arsenal that you're building, you are becoming that team that is chasing that top 4-5. This is probably the game that changes your season. That's what I see for Arsenal. And listen, I like Mikel Arteta. I really like his ideas because, listen, he's learned from the genius that is Pep. Of course, he's going to take some of that, and you can see it. You can see it. The problem is it takes time, and I think sometimes, especially at Arsenal, there's way too much stick at Arsenal in any result that's not a win. But I like the team, and I think it's also on average the youngest team, I believe. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
so
youngest team in the league.
Yeah. So that also adds another challenge. It's brilliant for Arsenal because brilliant how these young players. And the one thing you have to have is there might be top players, superstars on the TV, yes, but their growth takes time. Yeah. So that's what people got to remember. But I like watching Arsenal. I like especially these last kind of few weeks. You can see some of the patterns. You can see some of the intelligence coming in. Consistency, okay, they need to be a little bit better. And what a better challenge than Leicester, because Leicester are just that team that just, if they turn up, they're beating anybody. They're exciting. They'll counterattack. It's very
a great game.
Score goals. A 4-3 would be beautiful for the neutrals.
Not for
as long as it's to Arsenal. Hey, if it's to Arsenal, I don't care. I don't care.
But it's a really, really good game. It'll be interesting. So we'll see.
Looking forward. I'm going to stay with you, Rob, because we talked about Wales there and growing up, but at Cardiff, it wasn't all plain sailing. It wasn't like a dream start, was it? You had to work really, really hard. You had a few loan spells as well, but before that amazing 2002 where the goals just clicked. So, you say there it takes time. It takes time on the field as well as being a manager, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, yeah. I mean, when you're a young player, and I remember it very well because the process is always with me. So when you're a young player, you know there's certain things you're always chasing something, and I mean that in skills. For example, and Kev is one that I learned a lot of as well. We roomed together, and I learned so many things of him. But the little things are the skills that you need to get better at your first touch. You need to be more consistent when you're finishing, your movement, all of these things. So when I was a young player, from 17 to 20, 21. I'm thinking, okay, the next thing, the next skill, practice this, practice that. And, I went out on loan. And I always say about the loan, because it wasn't you just go in the first team and it's handed to you. No. I went out. I went to Scotland for a month and played some games, and it was tough. But so those are the things, because you also have to build character. You have to also have to build strength in you. So when I came back after that, talk about the 35 goals in a season, that was, to break the record at Cardiff. And I did that. But in my mind, it was amazing, yes. But it feels so much better because the path that you've walked on before. The amount of work day to day, the scoring 35 goals is, you think about the times that you're hitting the ball. Sometimes it goes over, sometimes it goes wide. Then it starts to hit the net. Then it's clicking. When you arrive game time, then it's no accident, and it's because of the work. And that's why I always say,
is it a pattern, Rob? Is it a pattern? When you get into that groove, do you go out and think, I'll score today? You just. I mean, I know pros say that they think that when they go out, but when you hit that rich vein of form, it must be some feeling.
Oh, do you know what? I remember exactly the feeling that year. So I actually that season I started off on the bench because we had a couple of 3 or 4 good strikers. I started off on the bench. So first couple of games I watched. I'm studying. I'm seeing. But then I was given a chance, and I started one of the games. I think it was in the cup game. Started one of the games, and then I scored a hat trick. And then the next league game I scored again. And then after that, to be honest, it was exactly that. It was, I'm going to score today. Mm-hmm. So I literally, before the game started, it was subconscious. It It was something in you that you just feel this invincibility that, yeah, I'm going to score today. I don't know how.
Confidence.
When,
Confidence,
yeah,
Rob.
It is.
Confidence.
And that's the word, Kev. There's this intangible thing that is the mystery of goal scorers: confidence. As quickly as you can gain it, you can lose it quickly too, right? I'll never forget after watching. He used to play for Southern, Phillips. Yeah, back
Kevin
in the
Phillips.
day. Kevin Phillips, right? He was going through a barren spell, and a few of us met him by chance in a bar afterwards, and someone said, "Do you want a pint?" He said, "I'll have a pint of confidence, please." It's amazing how it comes and how it goes. Rob, how did you feel you gained your confidence? What was it? I mean, was it just hard work and feeling good about yourself?
Well, the one thing, if I rewind back, the one thing always when I was, before I'm even playing for a professional football club, before I'm even a pro, the one thing was, okay, what is the things that going to allow me to make an impact? And I loved scoring goals in the street. So I'm a forward player. So, of course, as a striker, I need to score goals. If I play bad, at least I scored a goal, because you got to make it still an impact. I can't always choose. It's sometimes you've got no control of playing well, but the scoring goals, I feel like I can make at least that impact, even if I don't play well. So that was what I attached myself. I put in the work, and that's what gave me confidence. It gave me confidence when if I knew I could score goals in any moment against any team. Doesn't matter if I'm playing against a really quick defender, really strong, he's great in the air, all of these things. I almost put that aside and say, I don't care. You have to chase me for 95, 80, 98 minutes. But if you give me one little small moment to finish,
that's it. Yeah,
done. I'm finishing.
That's the predator. That's the predator. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and then that's what gave me the confidence. But because I put in the time, the amount of time, I used to really break it down into almost like systems. Okay, how am I going to score goals? How many tap-ins am I going to get? How many that I'm going to dribble and finish myself? How many am I going to get from crosses? Which spaces I need to put myself in? So when I arrive there, that gives me the confidence. And the other thing was when you go through a little, you haven't scored for a little while. For me, it was almost like I put a timer on myself. So I'll explain that a little bit. So I put a timer on myself. So, for example, I remember times where I went, 3-4 games and didn't score, and I was thinking, hey, no, that's good, not good enough.
How quick can I get back to being that guy? Yeah,
you almost jump up a level in sharpness and speed. So that's what I used to do to myself. Is like, hey, you got 3 games. Come on, that's not good enough. So it was always that I was putting that pressure on myself. Now you got to be able to handle that. But yeah, I was just used to it because that's how I felt, and that's how I could push myself. Because the other thing is confidence, but you also got to be that motivation, self-motivation. So that's how I kind of push myself. Listen, confidence comes from being consistent because you've done it before. You do it in training all the time. You put in the time. I put in so much time. I used to study. So I gave myself confidence by I used to study goals, how goals were scored. I didn't grow up on just Premier League football. I used to watch Bundesliga. I used to watch La Liga. I used to watch Italian football on a Sunday afternoon. I used to watch then the Mexican football. I used to watch all different, and when goals were scored, I used to study and rewind it back and see how they finished, the timing, the movement. So I used to study all of that. So when I arrived, that gave me confidence because it was like almost replaying certain moments that I've already seen and studied and think, okay, I can do that. So that's a little breakdown of some of the things.
Fascinating.
It brings you confidence because it's just about putting in time. I always say you've got to put all the time into your craft. It's a craft.
Absolutely.
It really is an art. Everybody says it's the hardest thing to do is scoring goals on the pitch. It is, because it comes with time, patience, hours and hours of study, all of those things. So then people say, "Oh, he's a natural."
Yeah.
And Ernie, and also service, because you could do all that work. If you don't get the service, you get frustrated, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, the amount of times you're like, I made the right run again, and the
ball
You see
doesn't
that
come.
every weekend where the forward throws it. They've just busted a gut to get into the box, and the ball doesn't come over, and the arms go up in the air, and you can see the frustration. Listen, Rob, I think there's probably about just enough time after this show finishes to get up to the northeast, because we need a couple of goals this afternoon. Listen, we'll get on to the predictions a bit later, but a fascinating game to kick the weekend off. Arguably the biggest game of the weekend is Tottenham and Manchester United. Kev, before I come to you and George about that, we've got our Stato in the house from Australia. Dave Huggins got his thoughts on what is a great fixture.
Hello there, it's Geordie Stato, Dave Huggin here for Hollywood Balls, previewing Tottenham versus Man United. And what a great fixture that has been down the years. 20 years ago, Tottenham were winning 3-0 at White Hart Lane. I'm sure George remembers this one. And Manchester United came back to win 5-3. It was also a League Cup final in 2009. United won on penalties. Ben Foster was man of the match in goal for the Red Devils that day. Who knows what's going to happen this time around? It's Halloween. United's defence has been very scary recently. We'll see what's going to happen. I think there could be goals. We'll see. Back to Pete.
He's stolen my joke there. I couldn't open with that. I was going to say it's Halloween.
I was at that game. We were 3-0 up at half time and we lost 5-3. I was there.
You were celebrating, George.
Oh, unbelievable at half time there. But Beckham was on fire in the second half.
I remember that game, yeah. Veron as well. Let's not forget Veron, the little
Veron. Oh, he was great, yeah. As soon as the first goal went in at Man U in the second half, you just knew.
You knew.
When the second one went in, all my lot said, yeah, it's all over. It's all over. Yeah.
Speaking of Man United, Kev, it's been quite a week for Ole. They need a quick result, don't they, to put the last 7 days behind them.
Yeah, listen, when you get a result like that, which is, a travesty, it's a terrible result. You want the next game to come quick. You want it to come quick, and you want to get back out on that pitch and put things right. There's been a lot of issues at Manchester United with balance in the team, etc. But losing 5-0 to Liverpool was catastrophic. The key to this game, like anything, is what Man United will turn up. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure George will cover Spurs. If Manchester United play like they did against Liverpool, Spurs will beat them heavily. I'm telling you. They will. And don't forget, Spurs battered them last season at Old Trafford. So, they've got to be very careful, Man United. But
pressure's
on. Pressure's on big time.
Before I come to you, George, just got to say a quick hi to Junior Turner, Northeast singing sensation, who's in the house. He says, goals galore today on the show. There is, Junior. Let's hope that rubs off at St. James's Park later. If you are going to the game, I'm not sure if it should be played every game, but Junior's got a single out called Banks of the Tyne. Absolutely fantastic single. Go and buy it. George, which Spurs are we going to see today?
Well, listen, as a Spurs fan, I can tell you, this is, without a question, without any doubt, the worst time to play Man U.
Right.
Yes.
The worst time. They've come off a licking at home that was embarrassing. They're all fired up. It's the worst time to play Man U. I think Spurs are improving a little bit. Nuno is trying to put his style into the players. A little bit more cautious, avoid mistakes, and then concentrate on making the chances. I think Spurs are in a slow rebuild. I think it could be a very interesting game. It could have goals in it. I'm particularly nervous because of a thrashing Man U took, and it's the like I say, it's the very worst time to play them. It's dreadful.
Wounded animal, George, aren't they?
Yeah,
wounded.
That's right. Kev, you don't want to. It doesn't matter. You got to deal with it. You're all professionals. We play clubs when we play them, but it's like, it was embarrassing for Man U last week, right? For every player, for the manager, for everybody associated with the club.
Yeah.
The fans were embarrassed. I mean, they were leaving in troves at half time or before the end of the first half, So now they want to make up for it, right? So
it was Halloween last weekend, really, for them. Well,
yeah.
Exactly.
But Spurs have got a little bit about them, I like Højbjerg and Skip in the middle. The centre backs are looking good. Romero's looking good. So it could be an interesting game. I hope that normally it's an entertaining fixture. I hope that is the case. I hope we win. I don't see it. It's terrible.
We'll come back to it later with the predictions because it is the game of the weekend. Just want to say happy birthday to one of our viewers, Thomason. Joins us most weeks. He was away yesterday. He didn't join us last night, but that was because it was his birthday. So many happy returns. Hope you celebrated in style. Just to back up, Rob, what George is saying there, as a player, if you've been involved in a game like that where you know it wasn't good enough, is that determination even all the more in the next game out?
It is, yeah. It is, and there's almost a put it right feeling and put it right attitude, and it wasn't good enough, and you're as low as ever. So let's get back up and let's put in the work, and there's that extra determination that comes up, because when you're below a level as a football player, you feel it, you understand it, and you've had a bad defeat, you're below the level. You're just itching for the next game. You're just thinking, right? Let's get it back the next game. We're gonna try and work harder. We're gonna try and finish, be more ruthless. All of these things. So that's why it's dangerous. I mean, for me, this Tottenham Man U game there's definitely not going to be a 0-0.
There's your quote for the weekend.
There's less.
If it is, put all complaints. I agree. I think it's going to be goals. Look, it's a fascinating contest, and as George says, you don't want to be. Although George, the last time Man United, I remember a few years back now, they got beat 5-0 and went to Southampton. And Newcastle beat them 5-0, and then they went to Southampton after, and they shipped 6. So you never know. The stats could be on your side. Kev, I wanted to talk to you about a player that I've noticed over not just last weekend when I was watching Crystal Palace against my team, but Conor Gallagher. He stood out to me this season, and he's one of those, I would like to say, old-fashioned players who's a nuisance to play against. An absolute nuisance. He's in the ref's ear, he's in the centre halves ear, he's running down the way. I tell you what, he generates some energy, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a bundle of energy. I first saw him, obviously he's a Chelsea player, and he was on loan last season at West Bromwich Albion, obviously one of Ernie's and my club, one of our old clubs. He done a really good job at West Bromwich Albion, went back to Chelsea, and then Patrick Vieira brought him to Crystal Palace. And everything that is good with Crystal Palace, he's involved with. Yeah, he's a pressing machine. He presses from the midfield. He can tackle. He can run. He is one of these all-round players who I'm sure, if it doesn't happen at Chelsea, I'm sure there's a lot of teams having a look at him right now, because I think he's been really, really good at Crystal Palace.
I think what it gives him, George, is the ability for Crystal Palace, from their perspective, of another dimension, because we know Zaha is a danger, but so do all other teams and opposition managers. So when you've got several different things to think about, it's a nice problem to have for Vieira.
Listen, Gallagher's the kind of player that every fan wants. He's infectious. It spreads to the fans. It spreads to the rest of the team. He's infectious. He was great for West Brom under Sam Allardyce. He was outstanding. He's made a big difference for Palace this season. I would love Palace to buy him. That would be great. I don't know if Chelsea would sell him. But both Vieira and Gallagher are doing a great job at Palace. A very different team, Palace, this season. Very unlucky not to get 3 points against Brighton. Very unlucky not to beat Arsenal. And Gallagher is the epitome of Palace. Like I say, he's infectious. Every fan would love a player like that in their team. And I'm telling you, it spreads to the other players. You can see it. The Palace players are feeding off of that. You know, he's a big reason why I think Palace have gone up a level this season already.
They have,
you know?
They're tough to beat as well. Very, very tough to beat. Rob, yours and Kev's old club, West Brom, going well currently, sitting pretty in third. The massive game today, straight after this show against Fulham. With the right result, it could be an extremely good day for the Baggies, couldn't it?
It's a huge day because it's a chance for them to say, hold on, and Fulham is right up there as well.
Second.
Good, doing well, and it's a chance for them to say, right, we're going for this. I think this is the game where you think, okay, if we're going to really look at promotion and try and be clear, come towards the end of the season, let's get this result, because what it also does, it gives you such a huge boost, huge confidence. They're on a good run anyway, but it just adds that extra, you get that 3 points, a big rival that, because of the positions in the league. So huge game. And they grind out results as well, West Brom. There's some games where they're just grinding and somehow they find a way. They've got some quality there. But this is a huge game. It's going to be tough, though, because what I've seen of Fulham this year, they can score goals, they can create, they play some good football. They're a dangerous team. West Brom, for me, I said it at the beginning, I still believe it now, that I think they'll go up. I think at first, second, I think they'll go up. I can't see them not. I just think they're too strong with good players. And also Ishmael as well, the manager that's come in, I think he's got them working the right way to chase promotion.
Good stuff. Kev, one of the teams that they could replace, well, two actually, there's a real battle of the basement in the Premier today with Norwich and Leeds. Something I wanted to ask you, because we often touch on Norwich in this show, and again, a lot of comments this week. They're asking about Norwich and their sort of hunger and to be in the Premier League, and their happiness to bounce between the champ and the Premier League. And it was sort of saying after that whipping that they received last week, is that the case, or is that a little unfair, do you think?
I think it's a little unfair, Pete. Listen, what we got to understand is the budget that Norwich are working with is totally different, to the Premier League. A lot of the Premier League teams are probably double, triple their budget. Now, what do? Fair enough, you get looked after when you come into the Premiership with a skip load of money.
Yeah.
But you don't just throw it at the wall to try and stay in there. What they've had to do, West Bromwich Albion have done it for years, etc., where you maybe yo-yo. Burnley done it. You yo-yo a bit, and every year you get better. The problem with Norwich has been a couple of their best players they've had to sell.
Yeah,
they've had to sell their best player. Bundia went to Aston Villa, and stuff like that. So the key guys in your team, the creative guy in your team, you end up selling, and then it takes a bit of time to balance that out. They're going to go down. There's no doubt about that. I'll say that now. They're going to go down. But the key is they went up pretty easy. So they're in that limbo, aren't they?
Yeah.
From the Championship to the Premiership. They're in that limbo space where they have to keep investing that money to get a squad and team together. In the end, they will be able to stay in the league. But at the moment, they're not going to overcommit themselves monetarily.
Yeah, it's very difficult. If you're a Norwich fan, I think there is more frustration this year, though, Kev. Look,
of course.
They lost Godfrey to Everton, Bundia to Villa. I get that. But, when you talk about budgets, more Norwich fans are going to say, oh, Brentford have more of a budget than Norwich. And you look at where Brentford are. I think some of the frustration from Norwich fans is maybe let's give up a little bit on the nice football and let's start making it a little bit ugly like Brentford do, right?
Interesting.
I think that's a fair observation. I love Norwich. I love the way they go about their football. I love the way they don't compromise. I love the way they keep to their principle. I genuinely love it. The Championship, you could argue, in many regards, it's the best division in the world, right?
Tough.
It's the hardest.
Pete, 1 week we may want to dedicate predictions to Championship games. I mean, last night, the QPR Forest game.
Oh.
Yeah.
What a fantastic game. I mean, Forest should have had a couple of penalties. I thought at least one. so absorbing. You know, you can't enjoy more games more than that. You know, it's very tough. So, you know, it's not a given. If Norwich goes down, they'll come back up, Kev. I don't think. You know.
No, I'm not. I'm not saying it's a given, George.
Yeah,
all I'm saying is they're in that kind of middle ground where they went up easily as champions last season, and here they are struggling. Do you know what I mean? It's tough.
Yeah, I think. Look, the issue is, look, you can't be half pregnant. You've got to go for it or don't go for it. Right.
Well, they're not going for it, so
yeah,
that's
I know. But you look at Brentford, whose financial resources are not greater than Norwich's, right? And they've gone about it a different way. You know, Brentford fans are flying high, and I'm delighted for them. I think it's fantastic. It's great for the game. But I feel sorry for Norwich fans. It kind of breaks my heart a little bit, to be honest.
They probably need goals, Rob, don't they? I mean, you scored a hatful there as well. Do you think? I mean, the difference between Brentford and Norwich is goals?
Well, two things actually. I mean, I was there. I was at Norwich for a year and a half, and I had a great time. And probably one of the things that, I mean, we were in the Championship then, but with Norwich, we scored a lot of goals. I was there, and I remember Darren Huckabee was there, and we had a really good team attacking wise, but we also conceded a lot of goals. So there was that, we couldn't find that balance. So we were an exciting, great team, and I scored so many goals there because like we said earlier, creativity around really good going forward. What Norwich have now is, unfortunately, I think they've got goal scorers. I mean, Pukki, I think he's great. I think he can play on so many levels, you know, because I look at him and think, okay, great movement, great understanding of space. Can he finish? Yes. Can he create little chances from nowhere? Yes. So all of these things, they've got good players, but it's almost like they're conceding before they get to those positions where they can make a difference attacking. So the biggest thing is they're conceding way too many goals. They're not solid enough. And tactically, positioning, that's where they're lacking. Because what happens is you go and concede in a moment. Maybe you've just counter-attacked. Then you go and concede. All of a sudden, you're 1-0 down. Then you're trying to get back. Then maybe, bang, you go and concede again. All of a sudden, 2-0, it's almost game over. You start, obviously, you're going to go for it then. You're chasing. And then all of a sudden, then it could end up, obviously, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. But those little moments in the Premier League, especially in the Premier League, the moment that you can score a goal or concede a goal actually shifts the game. And that's what happens. That's the difference, because it's ruthless, because you're talking to a high performance league that those things adjust the flow of the game and makes a big impact on the result of the game as well. So listen, Norwich, I think they've got good players. I think they are, like Kev said, they're just in that they've come up, they've gone down, they've come up, they've got, they're looking as if they might go down. So I hope they can fix it, because I think it's fixable. I mean, look at it, when we were at West Brom, me and Kev, that Great Escape year. I mean, one of the things that shifted was we shifted everything, including mentality, including what we're trying to do, and we said, listen, we got nothing to lose. Let's just find a way. No matter what, the other team can't beat us easily. No matter what, we're going to try and push them, and we're going to put them under pressure. And I think maybe some of those things are missing with Norwich when I watch.
I agree. I remember that. Sorry.
Go on. No, I like watching Norwich as well. So go on.
But I remember that year that West Brom avoided relegation. All of us had West Brom going down. Slam dunk. All the pundits, all the fans.
Thanks, George. Thank you, George. Thank you.
But we did. But you guys performed. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
Absolute miracle, right? And I mean, it's a beautiful game, right? Yeah. I mean, with respect, nobody thought West Brom would have avoided relegation. I mean,
I had them staying up, Kev. Don't you worry.
I know, Pete. I know.
But the inner strength and mentality to get that done. I mean, it's almost impossible. It's incredible, right? It's incredible. That was a great.
You say that, especially even more so. I mean, Kev, you remember some of the players, some of the world-class players, and I don't mean like just that top four. Almost every team had a world-class player in their team.
Yeah.
And you go to certain team. I remember we going to Bolton and JJ Okocha is playing, and Nelka and all. And I'm thinking, this is unbelievable. You know, Ivan Campos has come from wherever it did to Bolton, and
Hiero's at Bolton. You know, it's like what's going on?
And Drogba and Terry and Lampard, and you go to Arsenal, it's the Invincibles Arsenal. Man U, a young Cristiano Ronaldo's playing at Man U with. You know, with Giggs
Rooney,
Rooney, yeah. And you're like, you know, every game was such a super challenge. But like, you know, and Kev was one of the main leaders in that.
Absolutely he was.
When you talk about strength, when you talk about being able to be infectious with your teammates, Kev was all of that. And you know, Darren Moore and you know, a bunch of players in that squad. We're amazing for that, and it's almost the personalities, the strength, the people's quality that almost put the football together. And those are that make a difference.
I mean, I could talk about this forever. Listen, Kev I love him. He was a hero. Darren Moore also was absolutely inspirational. You could see that from a mile off. What was it like playing with Darren Moore?
Morrow's great. Morrow is great. What just a great guy. You know, he's number one thing. You know, because you can talk about football and you know, throwing his body on the line, all of those things. But as number one, he was just a great guy. Any minute of the day, he's just great. He was
great.
Genuinely a lovely man, isn't he, Ernie? Brilliant. Genuinely a lovely man. Yeah.
Motivational. He's always got, you know, he's always got good words for everybody. You know, you can lean on him for anything. He's always supportive. Just a great guy, but also strength. You don't want
a big, strong guy. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
He's just so, you know, it's mentally strong as well. But like, I think you feel that as a teammate. And
that's right.
It was the same. You feel that as a teammate, so you knew, I can count on him. You know, when you know we're down, goals, whatever I can count on him. No problem. So it's, I mean, brilliant.
He's another type of player every fan would love in his team, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that like yesterday. He was fantastic.
Gentlemen, it's that time.
Here we go.
We're fast running out of time.
No.
Listen, in its popularity, Rob, let me just explain. I think I may have given Mr. Earnshaw a little bit of a hint of how competitive this next segment is. It is DK Hot Sauce Premier League Predictions Challenge. Last week, it stayed in-house because Kev and I brought it home, 5 apiece. We drew with Samantha. Samantha Shepherd had 5 also, a previous winner. She's going well. I think she's had 2 wins now out of the last 3, so she's going well, Samantha. She hasn't sent a photograph in with the hot sauce, though. And Kev was up on the Facebook page of DK again, stirring.
Where's my hot sauce? DK.
Okay, so now that that's cleared up, it's up for grabs again this weekend. We've picked the 5 top games as we see them. As always, it's guests first. So, Rob, we're going to go with Leicester against Arsenal. Score prediction, please.
3-2 Leicester.
Goals galore. George, we'll come over to you.
I've been sleeping on this. It's one of the hardest games to predict. I've got a feeling Leicester are going to pip it 2-1.
Okay, Super Kev.
I've gone 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay, now in the house today, we've got Danny Kwang, Samantha Shepherd, Andrew Burgess, Everton fan. Great to have him along. Martin Craig is here from Manchester City. Young Elliot Mitchell, 10 years old, did well last week, by the way. 3 points, Elliot. He's back in the house. And Jace Edwards. Myself, Kev, I've gone for a 1-1 draw. Danny's gone for 2s each. Samantha Shepherd's gone for 0-0. Andrew Burgess has taken Leicester to beat Arsenal 1-0. Martin Craig's taken Leicester to win 3-1. Elliot's taken Leicester to win 2-0. And Jace has taken Leicester to win 2-0. Okay, back down to Rob. Liverpool-Brighton.
Brighton have been doing well.
Yeah.
So they're a tricky setup because they're They got a good team. I'm gonna go for. I can't see Liverpool losing this, so I'm gonna go 2-1 Liverpool.
Okay. Yep, I think it's quite a popular outcome, George.
I have exactly the same. Brighton are a good team. It won't be an easy game for Liverpool. They will edge it 2-1.
Okay, Kev.
3-0 Liverpool.
I've got 4.
Yep. Forget Ernie and Joe. I've gone for goals. These guys. It's at Anfield. The fans are back. This is as hard as you get. It's as hard as you get.
Okay. Danny Quag's gone 3-0 Liverpool. Samantha's gone 2-0 Liverpool. Andrew Burgess has gone 3-0 Liverpool. Martin Craig from Manchester has taken Brighton to win 3-0. Wow. Elliot Mitchell's gone 4-0 to Liverpool, and Jace has gone 3-0 to Liverpool. Okay, where we Manchester City Palace, Rob.
Ooh, yeah, this is a straightforward. You know, I watch a lot of Man City, and are they at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
At home. Listen, even if it was away. Now I'm gonna go. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for a 4-0 Man City.
Okay, George.
3-0 Man City.
Super Kev.
I've gone 3-0 as well.
And so have I. Okay, Danny Quang's gone 3-1. Samantha's gone 4-1. Andrew Burgess has gone for 2-0 to City. Martin says 3-0 to his beloved Blues. Elliot's gone 2-0 to Man City, and Jace has taken 4-0 to City as well. Okay, Rob, no pressure. Newcastle against Chelsea.
6-0 Chelsea. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No. I think Chelsea will win this. I think a 3-1 Chelsea.
Okay.
Yeah.
George.
3-0 Chelsea.
Kev.
I've got 3-1, same as Ernie.
Okay, forever the optimist. I've gone 1-1. I got Newcastle. I predicted it last week. It was right. It was correct. Yeah. I must admit, it's more hope than 12th man and all of that. Okay, so Danny Quang's gone 3-1 Chelsea. Samantha's taken 4-0 to Chelsea. Andrew Burgess has taken 3-0. 3-1 says Martin Craig to Chelsea. Same for Elliot Mitchell, young Elliot, and Jace Edwards has taken 2-0. Okay, moving swiftly on. Rob, game of the weekend: Spurs against Manchester United.
Ooh, big game. This is a tough one. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a 2-2.
Okay. Good stuff. Fair. Yeah, it is. It's a good shout. George, your beloved Spurs.
I have exactly the same.
Okay.
You
haven't taken your own team to win in 2 weeks. Just saying.
I know, but I think it's a 2-2 draw.
Entertaining stuff. Having a word with Mr. Levy. Disgraceful scenes in the Hollywood Bowls.
Yes, I know.
Kev.
I know.
I've gone 2-1 United.
Okay.
To bounce back.
George, you'll be pleased to know that I've got Spurs down for a 1-0.
Good man.
Danny Quang's gone 2-2, as has Samantha. Andrew Burgess says 1-1. Martin Craig says 5-2 the Spurs. He's on that hot sauce, I think. Young Elliot says 2-1.
He's on some sauce.
I tell you.
2-1 to Spurs for young Elliot. Jace Edwards says 3-2. Absolutely brilliant. Listen, Rob,
3-2 to who? 3-2
to Spurs.
Okay.
My apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ball.
Listen, Rob, I can't let you go without bringing up Twitter. You caused. I mean, there's articles written about your Twitter style. There's too many to mention, but you like a little bit of getting people thinking on Twitter, don't you?
Yeah, there's actually quite a lot of articles being written about my Twitter, which is interesting. But yeah, I mean, if you go check it out, and there's a bunch of stuff that. It's not, listen, I'm not conventional. I don't fit in there, in a general, this is how we do Twitter box. So, for me, I'm interested in lots of things. So, One of them is
fascinating.
Yeah, it's just about making people think. When we put something out there, sometimes it's thoughts, sometimes it's certain things that I think, okay, this is mind bending. Sometimes I'll talk about football. So it's unpredictable, so to say. So there's quite a lot. I think I was reading actually somewhere where because I just said something along the lines about how if we sent our machines to another planet, isn't it probably the same that maybe aliens have sent their machinery to our planet and we don't know, or something like that. Anyway, so it was just
it got massive traction. I think my favorite is definitely don't trust anyone who starts off with I don't mean to bother you, but because you know what's coming.
You know what's coming, yeah.
Listen, it's been absolutely fantastic having you on, Rob.
Pete,
yeah.
Baller of the week.
Literally running out of time. Go on quickly, Kev.
No, Baller of the week for me is Mikel Arteta. There you go.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. George, have you got one?
Mo Salah.
Mo Salah's mine. Rob, have you got a Baller of the week for us?
Same, Mo Salah. Do you know what? Last week I was watching the game, and when he scored the third goal, I was in my living room, sat there watching the game, and I think, wow, this is an unbelievable game. But I actually stood up, and I said this on Twitter, actually. I stood up and gave Mo Salah a round of applause. Same way Ronaldinho in the Bernabeu got one years ago when he scored those 2 goals.
Yeah.
I was just clapping because I was just appreciating. Yeah. I appreciated what he was doing on that day, the finishing.
He's the best in the world at the moment.
Absolutely. He's on fire. He's on fire.
Yeah, you have to appreciate football when you see it. Doesn't matter what team it is, but when you see some quality and class, amazing. Love that. So
unbelievable. As has your performance been for your debut on Hollywood Balls. We will ask you to come back on later in the season, Rob, and join us. Lots of thank yous to give. It's been an absolute privilege and an honour to have you on. Roommate of Kev, you deserve that throne that you're sat on. Okay, listen, I want to thank everyone, especially talking of Twitter. Yesterday, we launched our new Black and White podcast, Newcastle United, brought to you by Arab News, presented by yours truly and Ali Khaled. It caused a major storm on Twitter yesterday, and we hope to do so. Big thanks to Lee Clark, who was our first guest. Go and get it, arabnews.com podcast. It's fantastic. We've got some great guests coming up. Okay, last word, though, does go to Kev. We did send him out on a mission to go and enjoy the music. I think he did. He helped them prep. We've had Barry on, and he was really, really happy to see you, Kev. So from all of us until next week, we'll let Kev take you out.
And we're rolling. Geordie Pete, I've been to see the man, the 2-week champion. He's done me twice. But you know what? It's a long old season. And look how he lets me go home in style. So do you know what? All the best, everyone. Driver, off we go!